Hey guys, I know it's been a while since I made a video because I've been streaming on Twitch where I hit over 200 followers. So I want to try and make more content for the channel and get that same number of subscribers here on YouTube. And it would be cool. So if you like this video and want to support the channel, please leave a like and punch that sub button. Would be very helpful. And also feel free to share it because YouTube algorithm doesn't work the way I would hoped. And if you're watching this took me 12 attempts at recording, so if you're actually seeing this, I finally did it. So hi, I'm Guildarts, and we now entered into our 5th year of Halo Infinite, I figured it's time to make a retrospective video now that Infinite's live service is over. The hype for this game was amazing. Everyone, including myself, was excited. Content creators who have never played Halo before were excited. This is also coming after the updates that followed MCC PC release, so Halo was in a great spot. And this is where I started my YouTube and Twitch career. It's a new Master Chief story that's after the events of Halo 5's OK campaign, where you play as Chief only a handful of missions. And for what I remember, nothing major was leaked about the campaign's story narrative. And especially now that games and media where everything is leaked now. The multiplayer reveal trailer still hits different to this day. So this game did everything great when it came to hyping up the game. The marketing side, Infinite started off good, then it fell off, then it picked up again, then stopped when it was getting good. But the biggest downside that Halo has had when it came to marketing was the lack of on Xbox's end. As a Halo fan, there is no reason to watch the Xbox showcases or dev directs. That's because they would never show Halo unless it's 3 frames of a Game Pass ad. The trailers 343 and Halo Studios were great. It's just a shame Xbox never revealed those updates at one of their shows, and that needs to change. The campaign is good. It's a linear open world Halo title, similar to ODST. The story is good. Zeta Halo is beautiful to look at and explore. The cutscenes make the game feel like a one-shot, with only a few POV cuts to explore the banner side of things. There is a lot to do when it comes to game activities. You have the FOBs, outposts, skulls, comm towers, Easter eggs, and high-value targets, which are mini-bosses. The story is told through cutscenes, dialogue, and data pads found all over the Shard of the Ring. It's a 7 out of 10 campaign for me, and I like what we got. But it does have its drawbacks. It's only one biome throughout the game. Most of the content they wanted to put in was cut. There was supposed to be a creature called the Crusher, going off its leaked model animations that came out after. In my opinion, it's kind of similar to a Deathclaw from Fallout. There is mainly only 2 factions in this game. That's the UNSC and the Banish. Yes, I know there are Forerunner Sentinels and Monitors, but I wish the Prometheans appear in the game to make them feel more dynamic. Because Sentinels just kind of float there. Prometheans would add a bit more variety in terms of combat. The Banish are from Halo Wars 2, and they are less menacing to look at compared to their Halo Wars 2 counterpart. They looked way too much like the Covenant, besides a few select units, which I think was the wrong choice to make. However, for the CE remake, I'm fine with them reusing these assets because they're great Covenant designs, so yeah, I'm fine with them getting reused for the CE remake. So this may be just me, but the color palette of the Banished vehicles just feels wrong. In Halo Wars 2, their vehicles are black with steel and iron plating with red markings. If they did those to these Infinite designs, like, don't get me wrong, the models look great, I just wish they weren't just painted red. I wish they had, like, they were all silver and black with red markings. I think they would have looked way better. The other thing is, there aren't any grand scale fights like in previous Halo games, or like set piece battles. The Scarab doesn't appear at all, especially the Halo Wars 2 Scarab. That would have been amazing to fight in first person. I really wish we got the game they originally wanted to make. All of the All of this was because around 2/3 of the game they planned to make was cut because of the 20-year-old engine, the pandemic, and a bunch of external stuff. Luckily, a few of these issues are fixed, with Halo moving to the Unreal Engine 5 for future titles. Halo Infinite's multiplayer does a lot right and a lot wrong. The structure is great from movement to gunplay, it feels good. This is the first official released free-to-play Halo multiplayer. The first would have been Halo Online, but it was cancelled in 2016. Being free-to-play is a huge positive because games now costing $40 to $70 for multiplayer-focused games, and you don't need to pay an online subscription to play. Yes, it released with 4 playlists now that we have the match composer like an MCC, but updated to pick the exact modes you want to play. We have Quick Play, BTB, Arena Social. This is where you find the not as popular modes, and Legacy modes, which are classic settings. Firefight, you can play COD Zombies with the Night of the Dead mode. Squad Battle, which is old school BTB. Action Sack, which is custom game modes that have been added to matchmaking. What makes Infinite's multiplayer is it's a mixed bag is its matchmaking system. It's rough. You can have a bunch of bad games back to back because of the hidden global MMR system. So if you do really well in any mode, it will follow you into examples like BTB, where you will match BTB sweat stacks. Why do we get punished for playing well? The game forces you to carry players that just started the game or a bot account. They kind of fixed the networking, so I will give them that, but it has made some weapons worse. I think the biggest misstep was the lack of a featured big streamer large-scale mode. It's like, hey, here's that big mode that all content creators can play to make content. That's the reason like Halo has suffered like on Twitch, is because like there was no like big draw to it. Like, yeah, Arena goes so far, but like there was no like big driving mode. Like Infinite did have a battle royale that was Last Spartan Standing. It was fun for its time. For those who didn't play it, it's 12 players with 6 lives each. Kills grant you points to upgrade the next weapon in rotation, and you played on BTB maps. I think what made that mode suffer was the lack of a dedicated map for the mode. At the time it released, Forge wasn't in the game yet, so you couldn't make the map for the mode yet. And Halo needs that big driving mode. Like Halo 5 had Warzone, and that was the mode. Like you can go like Warzone Consecration, like for Halo 5, Warzone, every match was different. You could make content on anything in that mode, which is like Infinite didn't really have that. That's like Halo Infinite on YouTube is kind of not as well received. So I really hope the next game has something on that scale of Halo 5's Warzone, whether it be a successor to Halo 5's Warzone. And they removed Last Spartan Standing from the game. You have to look in the content browser to see if someone made a copy of it. The maps are great. The maps all look great even though they don't play the way I would like, especially the BTB maps. The first BTB map we ever got to play was Fragmentation. It's the only dev map with loot caves. These are locked doors on the sides of the maps that have weapon variants spawning inside them, and we hoped more BTB maps would have adopted this feature going forward. However, the dev BTB maps have this, which was added to Forge, and that's the Pelican drops. So throughout the match, Pelicans would fly in and drop off vehicles. If it was added to Forge, it could have fixed a few of the issues with BTB. BTB at launch, the Pelican drops were not synced together. One team got a Rocket Dog while the other got a Scorpion. That got fixed, but on maps like Deadlock, it now only drops Wraith, so that became the tank map. The other issue myself and others have is that there's too many vehicles or weapons on maps. Not every map needs to have the Banshee on it. In my opinion, Halo 4 did BTB the best. BTB is best when vehicles were exclusive to a few maps. Like, hey, this map has the Mantis, this map has the Scorpion, this map has the Banshee as like the main focused vehicle. Forge is a 10 out of 10. However, the maps 343 or external teams they hired to make Forge maps have been received not as well. The Flood Gulch with a 90% quit rate, it's the worst map in the game. On the other hand, maps made by the community are great at sometimes, especially the B2 map Command. That is hands down one of the best B2 maps in the game. Now that Forge has been in the game for the past 4 years, Forgers have made few BR modes, like Skirzma's BR and the Forge Falcon's BR mode, that content creators have played. It's just a shame they're not in matchmaking. You can also find other map and mode combos by the Forge community, like the Scripters Guild's recreation of Warzone from Halo 5. In one of my projects I collab with It's Scummy is 3TB, or Triple Team Battle. 3 teams of 8 players play on 5 modes on 3 supported maps. I plan on making a trailer coming soon. One of my complaints with Forge maps into matchmaking is 80% of the maps added to matchmaking have been remakes of 20-year-old maps. Like, we have 4 remakes of the Pit in matchmaking. We have Imperium made by 343, Halo 3 Pit made by Unique, and 2 10-ray variants, Shiro and Takamahara. I will give Shiro some slack because it's a rework and not a one-to-one to the original. It has new sightlines and pathways to move around the map. Maps need to be rotated in and out that get the game to feel fresh. The map pool is flooded with remakes and not enough original maps. We got a playlist for Halo 3 and Halo 2, but nothing from CE, Reach, Halo 4, or H5. The game has some remakes from Halo 4 and Reach and Squad Battle, and Halo 5 has some maps in Arena and Ranked. Halo 5 turned 10 years old last October, and it got nothing. So I hope the next multiplayer, no remakes playlist or map remakes. I'm tired of playing on 20-year-old maps that, guess what, play like dead 20 years ago. And I want to talk about this. Sprint didn't ruin the maps. There was a legacy playlist with no sprint, and the maps still played like terribly. They were one-to-one remakes using the Forge to Blender tool that made by the community, where you can input Forge objects into Blender and use a script to print them in-game. So the saying sprint ruins map design. It doesn't. Bad map design does. Upscaling or reworking maps isn't because it's needed to fit the movement of the game. It also has to reflect the game's sandbox. The reason the legacy playlist got merged into Arena Social was because of a few things people got bored of. Like, people got bored of playing the reskinned 20-year-old maps. The other thing was changed to BR starts by community request. It became a sweat fest because the Infinite's battle rifle isn't the Halo 2 or Halo 3 BR. So this led to cross-mapping with the battle rifle, not picking up weapons. That's the reason we had AR sidekick starts in all social playlists. Spawns were terrible, which led to spawn camping, and then everyone left. So to get back on track, they should pay forgers by making maps for matchmaking, but also handle it kind of like how Bethesda, I would say handle it like how Bethesda handles mods in Creation Club. Only original maps can be monetized. That in turn gets more forgers making original maps, and the game feels new constantly and not reliant on the past. Infinite has a decent sandbox, with some great additions and some items that have mixed reception. A addition I like is the weapon racks and vehicle pads. As a forger, these allow my maps to auto-update whenever a new weapon or sandbox item is added, because the 3-tier system is gone in favor of the weapon class and tier type based off their damage type, which is base and power, and I prefer this system over the tier 3 system. I prefer this way over. It helps divide up weapons easily. The one thing I will agree on is that the weapon pads and weapon racks, I wish they had different faction types. where I'm talking about the actual weapon rack design, of which there was one that was Banished design, Covenant, and Forerunner. So they kind of blend into maps instead of clashing with the art style. So like they blended into the walls. I would agree on that. Equipment, they nailed equipment out of the gate. Every equipment they've added has been great. They have multiple uses. I wish we got some of the equipment from previous games. Weapons, Infinite has some great additions and some interesting ones. As that either you love it or you hate it. They reduced the amount of weapons coming from Halo 5 to something around the same count as Halo 3, which myself and many others agree was the wrong choice. Halo is better when it has a lot of weapons. Something they did keep from Halo 5 was the weapon variants. All but two of these are great, those in my opinion being the Longshot AR and the Rapid Fire Pulse Carbine. Infinite introduces alt fire modes to a few weapons instead of aiming down the sights. So I have to talk about the post-launch weapons. Disclaimer, none of these weapons are variants or have variants. So starting with the Bandit, I hate this gun. It's the Halo 5, it was the Halo 5 Magnum cosplaying as the DMR without a scope. The main complaint it had was, where's the scope? Introducing the Bandit Evo months later, a scope version of the Bandit with a 1.6x sight that honestly, the Evo should have replaced the Bandit instead of being a ranked exclusive starting weapon. As a small tangent, why didn't it replace it? They could have sold us the Reach DMR weapon model, and we could have had the same level of customization the BR got with multiple models with different scopes, including the Reach DMR sight, which the battle rifle has. So the devs kit bash to make weapons fill out the sandbox rules. So the MA5K Avenger uses the animations from the AR, but plays like the SMG. And it's good. The infamous Fuel Rod Spanker, it's the Fuel Rod. It kills tanks in 4 to 5 shots, so that's good. Downsides, it's a very ugly rocket launcher. However, the Mutilator is completely new because the animations for it were completely finished. And it's a banished double-barrel shotgun with a gravity-based bayonet, and this weapon should return going forward. The final weapon they added was the Vestige Carbine, or the Carbine. Like the previous weapons, it uses animations from the shock rifle, so the weapon adopts the gravity rifle design from early Combat Evolved Sandbox. This is what it took away from Infinite's weapon pool coming from Halo 5. Most of those weapons were cut because a small few complained that weapons competed with the coveted battle rifle. That's why the Magnum, DMR, Carbine, and Light Rifle were cut, because they competed with the BR as the go-to precision weapon. And you may disagree with me on that, but that's how it basically is. They would constantly use the complaint as that Weapon B is a nerfed or a buffed version of Weapon A. Halo suffers from the sandbox purity mentality, so my reply to that mindset is more sandbox equals more fun. Halo 5, to this day, still has the best weapon sandbox in Halo. So, you call it redundancy, I call it variety. Can we also stop with the esports naming of weapons like the M392 Bandit and the MA5K Avenger? Names should be the weapon's classification, hints at its role in combat, is a weapon variant, or it's used by an important character. Vehicles in Infinite are power weapons. More so after the addition of the repair field, or as Carson Lutz calls it, Med Mist. I'm not a fan of how vehicles handle this game. What I mean by that is that they are too fast. Instead of going 0 to 60, they go 0 to 100. And are either too light or so that they flip and they hit a small pebble in the road. The chopper is terrible. because you try to ram it into vehicles, it's either going to kill it with a small chance or do zero damage and drive over it. Turrets in vehicle weapons don't overheat. I don't know who thought that was a good idea. Halo 4 and 5 did vehicles the best because they had acceleration, that you would start off slow, then pick up speed. They also had overheat, where vehicles in terms of health need to be reduced by 30%, because some of them, everything is basically a tank now. You can't kill a tank with 4 rockets and 4 skewer shots. I would say the solution would be use a Spartan laser, but that's not in the game. To finish off this, my final quote is, more sandbox equals more fun. If the weapon, vehicle, and equipment existed in a previous game, no matter, it should be in the next. And I plan on making a sandbox video in the future, so please write down a weapon or vehicle you want to see return. Infinite has one of the best customizations we have had besides Halo 4. To sum up, Infinite's customization is the life is good, but it could be better meme. Infinite retired the Red vs. Blue team system in favor of the outline system to let players see their armor they have spent time and money on, and I prefer this over the classic system. I'm all for player expression. I hope this customization returns and is merged with Halo 3's MCC armor customization that allows you to change the legs, chest, forearms like in Halo 4, with the addition of changing the tech suit and adding back attachments. I love the addition of personal AI. I wish we got more. Here's hoping it returns in the future. The one thing I dislike about Infinite's armor customization is the body types. That's because you can't tell the difference between the body types. We need to go back to the body types that Halo Reach 4 and 5 had. Is that the armor's thickness and geometry changed to fit the body type instead of the fake attempt at it. I would like to see HUD customization similar to like Halo 5, to where you can change the colors and the layout. And we're actually getting the layout change in the CE remake. And this is new with multiple games, is crosshair customization. Please add accommodation system like in Halo 4 where you got armor or a customization item for playing a certain way, and they should add a prestige system. What can be learned in like kind of my afterthoughts is that market the game at live events to have a bunch of viewers, improve the customization system, adding on what is currently there in Infinite, have a massive sandbox akin to Halo 5 but slimmed down with 3 to 4 variants each weapon and vehicle, bring in vehicles from Halo Wars and other games. More sandbox equals more fun. Put all that into a large scale mode like Capital Supremacy from Battlefront or Conquest from Battlefield. Arena Halo is mainly the focus for HCS, so a large scale mode would be great for. As for campaign, I want to see full faction wars. I want to see UNSC and Swords and Helios versus the Banished, the Flood, and the Prometheans. I want to see the return of Blue Team and the Arbiter and other characters. Also, I want them to stop with nostalgia baiting. Like, hey, remember Halo 3 back in 2007? Like, how many times do we also need to remember Reach? Have faith in the game you're making. That's kind of the reason why most of us aren't too excited for the CE remake. Or if they remake Halo 2 and 3, like, yeah, we'll play them, but it won't keep us interested for long. I hope we get Halo 7 or a new multiplayer sooner than later. My final thoughts is also Halo to be the sandbox game that doesn't hold back. Take all the positives from every Halo game and put that into a single product. So, if you liked this video, please like and subscribe. Comment on what sandbox item you'd want to return, and I will see you in the future. You all have a good one.